Good day, good day. There we go. Sorry about that. Good day. Pardon this horrible looking. This is the laptop camera. I am waiting for the iPhone camera to kick in. I'm doing everything in my power to see that it does. How are you, everybody? Is everybody here tonight? Are you with me? Are you with me this late? Can I get a 5x5? Can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? Can somebody tell me? Let me know that you're still here. Can you hear me? I'm hearing you fine. It is colder than a well digger's ass tonight, my friend. Thank you, Curveball. It is cold, cold, cold. We had an event this evening, which right on Broadway, and I got to tell you something. I thought to myself, wow. It is cold, but I am so glad to be with you, dear friends. So glad, so much to tell you. I don't even know what to say. Ran to somebody. He says, "Oh, you do a podcast. What kind of podcast?" I said, "Well, it's not really a podcast. I don't know what you want to call it. I guess it's a podcast." "Well, how would you describe it?" I said, "Well, it's kind of different." "Well, does it?" I said, "Well, how would you describe your audience?" I said, "Well, it's hard. They're hard." "Well, are you political?" I said, "Oh, yeah, it's very well. Is it conservative?" I said, "Well, it's sort of, maybe, maybe." Was it Democrat? Was it? It's and I realized, I think this is one of the greatest things anybody could ever say about me or anybody for that matter is that thank God it is something that we really do not have necessarily a word for. So, in any event, thank you so much. Let's sit back. Let's jump into this. Sorry for this crappy camera. It's going to switch over. Uh, you don't want to hear the insides, but the iPhone is one of the best cameras to use for purposes of this. But your phone, your laptop has to recognize it, and I'm violating my own rule by explaining to you the intricacies of what's going on. But before we do this, my friends, first, before we begin, this incredible word from our incredibly important sponsor. Have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? I recently saw a video he made, and I was shocked. He's in his 80s and still kicking butt and working out and staying active. And what's even more shocking is that he's stronger. He can work out longer and even has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. He did this by just making one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even started doing this one thing too, and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger, her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Chuck made a special video that explains everything. And make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/Lionel or by clicking on the link below this video. It will change the way you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/Lionel and click on the link in the description below to watch the video now. You won't believe how simple it is. Just a reminder, the legendary Chuck Norris is a whopping 84 years old and yet has more energy than most. He discovered he could create dramatic changes to his health simply by focusing on 3 things that sabotage our body as we age. Watch his method by clicking the link in the description below, chuckdefense.com/Lionel. D, my friend, thank you so very much. Where do we start? Oh my God. I don't even know where to begin. Where do I begin? The good news is that the loss of life, from what I am hearing in my native Florida, has been better or less than was expected. But the amount of damage, the ruined homes, the ruined lives, the destroyed property, they don't talk about that. I was talking to somebody today who was at this event we went to. I'm not going to mention his name, but you might know the name. But he's very, very smart and very, very known in Broadway and entertainment. And he says, "Well, he says, I can't believe it. there was no, how do I say this? He said, nothing really touched it down, or Florida was somehow unscathed. And I'm saying, what are you talking about, unscathed? Do you have any idea what the hell you're even talking about? What are you talking about, unscathed? There are people whose lives are forever destroyed by this. It's a cornucopia of facts. Oh, a veritable mélange. A mélange, a cornucopia, a mosaic, a myriad of, a pastiche, an amalgam, a gumbo. Absolutely. You were looking schmeiko today, Uncle Lenny. Thank you. Don't know what that means. Schmeiko? Well, thank you. I hope that is good. I'm not sure. Crypto Domini says, big dick from Chicago here. I used to drill water wells with my to-be father-in-law, Dick, his son, Rick, and myself. 3 dicks, water, drilling 10 degrees. Like a well digger's ass, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before I forget, let me say this again. Dear friends, Uncle Lenny is, I don't even know where to start, but I'm going to say this. Do you remember this feller from a while back? Do you remember this dude? Let me bring him on up. There he is. Remember him?
We're going to win this. But the question that remains is whether we will win it in time. We're in a race, and there are some negative tipping points that we need to avoid crossing over. One of them that's quite astonishing, and you've written about this as well, the Gulf Stream could shut down. Sounds like a bad science fiction. In fact, it was a science fiction movie in 2005, I think.
Stream.
But now you see these peer-reviewed scientific articles say it could very well happen within 25 years. What? That's incredible. The scale of these consequences must cause us to change policy more quickly. But I'm hopeful because we have seen the beginnings of some very significant changes in policy. Now, we need to remove the anti-climate activity as much as we can. And President Lincoln, our greatest president, famously said that without the support of the people, nothing is possible. With the support of the people, everything is possible. I do believe you mentioned that years ago it was time. We should have done it back then. Of course, we should have. But if you look at this climate crisis and the largest grassroots movement in the history of the world to try to bring about solutions, it fits into a pattern of all the great morally based movements in our history. You look back at the abolition of slavery, the effort to get women equality, the right to vote and equality in all things, the civil rights and anti-apartheid movements, the LGBTQ movement. In all of those movements, people felt despair. The advocates got to a point where they said, oh, is this ever going to happen? But when the underbrush of argumentation was cleared away and the central issue was revealed as a choice between what's clearly right and what's clearly wrong, then at a very deep level, the outcome became foreordained. And then things really began to change. So that's the point we are approaching now. And
let me see if I can explain this to you, okay? Let me see if I can explain this to you. There is a word for what this is. It's called bullshit. Pardon my French, but it is a word that is so beautiful in my lexicon. It's a word that everybody understands. It's a term that everybody grasps and gets and understands and truly feels and knows and understands completely. The word is caca del toro. And this is the front man. This is the front man. Dear friends, I hope you listen to me, and I hope you understand. And I'm going to say this again, because I've never felt more powerful about this. They are ready to unload stuff on you that is I don't even know where to begin. They are telling you, if you think these people are going to go away because Donald Trump is about to be reelected, you're out of your mind. If you think that everything's going to be hunky dory because Donald Trump is going to fix this and that Al Gore is going away, no, he's telling you this. I've mentioned preparewithlionel.com. I want you to start becoming now preppers, preparers, frontiersmen. I want you to think, for the first time in your life, something very, very critical. Not what happens if something bad happens, but what happens if bad people do bad things to you. That's what I want you to understand. What happens if bad people do bad things? Not natural thing, not a dam breaks, a dry spell, things. I mean, let's face it, there's always been inclement weather, but somebody deliberately doing something. I was listening to something today, and I was listening to the big. I have so many friends. It was a snippet of a terrestrial talk show, and somebody, they mocked Marjorie Taylor Greene somehow and others for suggesting that weather manipulation, weather weaponization, manipulation, alteration, that this was far-fetched and crazy. This is what they think, that this is crazy. And these are the conservatives. They think Al Gore is crazy, but they don't know why. But they think that you are crazy to think that at any point anybody could have ever suggested or been responsible for the manipulation of weather. Project Cirrus, Storm Fury, Popeye, go down. It's all there. But as usual, these idiots in the world find that that's just too far-fetched, and they're now, everybody's unloading on Marjorie Taylor Greene. You had better start understanding that everything that you think, remember, water, food, energy, and ammunition. A friend of mine sent me a picture from Tampa, not Tampa Bay, Tampa, Northwest, somewhere off of Hillsborough, kind of town and country-ish. And there was a sign that somebody wrote. It said "No looting," and there was a picture of a firearm that was saying "No looting," because people, they leave and there is no law enforcement there. I want you to understand something. You better start thinking about this. Preparewithlionel.com. I want you to go there right now. There's a 3-month emergency food kit. You can save $508. Well, let me talk about this. What about water purification, water filtration, water containers? You have got to, there's water, but you're not sure if is it pure? Is it contaminated? How about off-the-grid biomass ovens? No electricity, no gas, biomass oven. Hurricane-proof or safety matches. You might not have, but something as simple as that. Hatchets. Do you have a good hatchet? Self-powered space heaters. Waterproof EMPs. We're talking EMP backups. Emergency drinking water pouches. This is what I like a lot. This is like a little pouch, almost like you would use for juices that kids would use, but it's with water. Heirloom seeds, survival coffee, PDF items to prepare, and gold, silver. I've talked to you about that as well. Everything that people used to say before, you would say, this guy's kind of crazy. I absolutely say, just get ready for it. Don't live in fear. Just don't be caught off guard. Start building this now. Spend time. They're telling you, the government is telling you, we are on our own. We're going to see a resurgence, believe it or not, dear friends, a resurgence in this thing called the militia, guaranteed by the Second Amendment. We're going to have militias. We're going to have private citizen law enforcement. We are going to have militia and education, learning pods. You are going to see things like you cannot believe. You don't understand this. Nelson says, you look dapper. Thanks for not canceling on us. Thanks for your time. No, thank you. I appreciate this. Oh, that's me right there. Just a minute. Let me see. Linda Hazlitt says they have patents on this stuff. Yes, they do. And you're talking about geoengineering and the like. You are going to see, listen to what I'm saying here. I want to go through, there was a Google truck going through the neighborhood, with cameras. It's like, I still can't believe this. You are going to have to be, from now on, self-sufficient. We have had it too easy throughout the years. For reasons I don't understand. We've been very, very lucky. Everything's been great. All the food's there. All the great little terrific processed foods, you name it, it's all there. All the stuff is there. Water is there and toilets flush. We really haven't had any problem. Right now, they're telling you. This is how sick these bastards are. They tell you. Do you see old Joe Biden? Do you see old Joe Biden?
President Trump at all?
Are you kidding me?
They ask him, did you call President Trump? Now listen, he loves Trump because Trump is going to kick the out of Kamala, which is what he wants, okay? He wants this more than anything. And listen to what he's saying right now. Listen to this genius.
Mr. President Trump, former President Trump, get a life, man. Help these people.
Get a life. Help these people. He's not the president. You are. And he is helping them. He is helping them. Do you hear what he said?
You hold him accountable. You said you were going to hold those.
You're going to hold him accountable. Listen to that.
Public will hold him accountable. You better than the press hold him accountable because you know the truth.
Will you plan to speak with former President Trump?
No.
What is the truth? Look at this. What is he talking about? What the hell is he talking about? President Trump's not the president. He's the president. You want to get really upset? You want to get really upset? Did you see this one? Dig this. Listen to this.
Also from that video, I started getting a lot of messages like to my Instagram from like actual like aircraft commanders, like squadron commanders.
No kidding.
I had a squadron commander from North Carolina reach out to me. They had to load a C-17 full of supplies just to take a photo op for Kamala. And they never sent the bird.
Wait a minute, what?
They loaded an entire C-17 full of supplies for the hurricane victims just for Kamala to go there, take a photo, take a video, and they never sent the C-17. It was just
Are you
full.
serious?
Yeah, and that was a National Guard, North Carolina National Guard unit. That was a 06 that reached out to me. And then I had another.
He reached out to you to tell you that they did a photo op and with the intention of never sending.
Never sent it. It was just a photo op.
This is, I think it's Sean Ryan, isn't it? Former SEAL. Yep. This is Sean Ryan. Can you believe these bastards? Can you believe these bastards? Can you believe this? I don't even know what I'm hearing here. I don't even know what I'm hearing here. Gloria Handley said, Mr. L, why does everybody want oceanfront property if it's going to be underwater in a few years from global warming? That's a very good idea, dear heart. That's an excellent point. Jerry Robichaux, thank you. And listen, Gloria, let me ask you something, hon. You don't mind if I call you hon, do you? I want you to answer me a question. Can you tell me, Gloria, what this is? What the hell is this? Did you see this, ladies, today? Did you see this? What the hell was that? What was that? What was that? What was that? Can you tell me what that was? Anybody tell me what that was? Can you figure out what that one was? Can you help me with that? What the hell was that all about? Edie Crowley says, Mad King George was a saint to this. He certainly was. What was that? No, seriously. If you didn't know this was Gretchen Whitmer or somebody who looks like her, what would you think this was? One more time. I'm sorry. Watch this, okay? Now let's look at this. Doritos, of course. You know who? Thank you, Edie. You know who likes Doritos, right? Okay. Watch this. Now look at that. Also, communion, body of Christ. This is a Dorito, from what I think. And what do you think this is? Look at this. Domination. Now they say it might not be Gretchen Whitmer, it might be somebody who looks like her. You know what I would say? If I didn't know about it, I'm saying, oh, it's a lesbian act. That's obviously sexual. It's some kind of subservience. It's something that is, I think, in that respect. I mean, it's not illegal, but why are people doing that if that's what it is? That Sean Ryan clip goes to show the Dems inculpable. Yes. Well, they're also incredible. Let me show you how else these people, how dangerous they are. Look at this. They sent out this dude.
So I get it, why people are looking to shake things up. I mean, I am the hopey changey guy. So I understand people feeling frustrated and feeling we can do better. What I cannot understand is why anybody would think that Donald Trump will shake things up in a way that is good for you, Pennsylvania. I don't understand that.
Can I tell you something? I mean, he isn't it something how his hair, how he looks like he is aged? I mean, he's in good shape. I think he sounds the same. It's obviously just gray hair, but isn't that something? Doesn't that make you feel like, wow? Ramona says, you are one of the wisest people I know. So happy to have found you, Mrs. L. Ramona, thank you, dear heart. I appreciate that. Isn't that something? Doesn't that show you something? Did you see some other stuff too, which is fantastic? Did you see this guy? Now here, listen, I'm not an expert in this, but I will tell you a few things. Maybe you can help me with this. Make sure you get somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about. Make sure you get somebody who knows. We turn them a woo-zoo here. It's 55 degrees in the city. Colder than a well digger's ass. Than a witch's tit, buddy. Anyway. I don't have any understanding why people say things that are incredibly inconsistent. Did you see Michael Strahan? Michael Strahan, not exactly the wunderkind of political of equanimity and acuity, but watch him just lay out Tampon Tim.
Something you said on Tuesday. You said, I think all of us know the Electoral College needs to go, but the campaign came out later that night and they said that's not their stance.
Yeah. It's no good. He is. Michael Strahan, he's got an interesting story. Oh, yeah. I'm just going to let it go. If you know what I'm talking about, yeah, buddy. You know what I'm talking, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Anyway, well, let's go back. Watch him. Now, this guy's been clobbered a bunch of times in the noggin throughout his professional and amateur career. And listen now, he nails old Timmy.
I want to go back to something you said on Tuesday. You said, I think all of us know the Electoral College needs to go.
Okay, the electoral, I prefer that versus the electoral. But anyway, the Electoral College has to go. This is what he said, okay? You got that? He's quoting Timmy.
But the campaign came out later that night, and they said that's not their stance.
So the campaign came out and said, no, that's not what was running. Dumbass said, I think the Electoral College should be abolished. Then the campaign says, that's not what we feel. The vice president does not agree with what we are saying. Okay, you dig? Are you digging this?
Well, it's not the campaign's position, and the point I'm trying.
he acts like it's well, of course, of course, absolutely. Why the hell are you saying? Oh, I'm just saying. Listen to how smooth he is. He acts like, of course.
Right. And they said that's not their stance.
They said that's not their stance. Listen to Timmy.
Well, it's not the campaign's position.
Well, it's not the campaign's position. What I'm saying, basically, I'm full of shit. Right? I'm full of shit. I am septic. I am Vesuvius-like full of shit. Every pore, every orifice, every aperture, every cavity, every os, every introitus, everything is just seeping with merd.
And the point I'm trying to make is that there's folks that feel every vote must count in.
Well, you know that everybody's vote should count, but they do. But the Electoral College is this is kind of constitutional, but that's not the point. Why are you changing your mind?
Every state, and I think some of folks feel that's not the case. Our campaign does that, and the point I'm saying is, I'm in 5 states in 2 days. We're out there making the case that the campaign's position is clear, that that's not their position.
Wait a minute, listen to this. Did you see listen to this, what he said. Tim is just spinning his wheels. He doesn't know what the he's talking about. Listen to this.
5 states in 2 days. We're out there making the case.
We're out there making the case. Ramona, follow this, hon. Follow this. We're out there making the case that
the campaign's position is clear.
That the campaign's position is clear. We're making the case that the campaign's position is clear that
that's not their position.
That's not their position. We're making the case. And the campaign is that my position is not their position. So what the hell am I talking about?
Their position and my position is to make sure that
but now my position and theirs is the same. It wasn't before. Now we coincide.
Everybody understands their vote, no matter what state they're in, matters.
So
their vote matters, but what if it's not counted? What if it's not counted by virtue of campaign about some NGO ballot mill? What about some kind of chicanery? Not necessarily that involving some kind of a ledger domain and switcheroos as to machines and algorithms. And I'm talking about plain old write-in ballots. What about that? How about people who don't even exist? Their votes count. Tim, do you know what you're talking about?
That's something that you and Vice President Harris disagree on?
I have spoken about it in the past that she.
So he won't answer the question. Michael Strahan got, God bless it. The man's got teeth like piano keys, but son of a gun, he's nailing it.
Been very clear on this, and the campaign and my position is the campaign's position.
My position is the campaign's position, unless and until it is not the campaign's position. Then I think differently. Does this even remotely make sense to you?
I want to go back to something you said on Tuesday. You said, I think all of us know that.
This is the most incredible. This guy, they're throwing in the towel. Ladies and gentlemen, they're throwing in the towel. They don't know what to do anymore. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? Is it getting through to you? Do you feel what I do? Do you understand what I feel? Do you get it? Oh, dear hearts. Oh, dear hearts. I can't say this enough to you. I cannot say this enough to you. Do you want to hear some more? How about Danica Patrick and old J.D. Vance? Did you see this?
It's really not hard to deport people. You just got to have competent administration that's willing to send people back to where they belong and not let them collect benefits in our country. And ma'am, I really think that unless we get this right in the next administration, we are throwing open the floodgates to illegal immigration for the next 30 years in this country.
Absolutely, positively, 100%. Ain't that something? You know what I really don't underline. I don't get is when people say, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan. Why aren't you a big fan? I don't know. I just say that. I think let me tell you something, my friends. J.D. Walsh, okay? J.D. Walsh. Wow, J.D. Walsh, he's an actor. J.D. Vance. J.D. Walsh. What am I talking about, for God's sake? It's been a long day. J.D. Vance, I think, is an excellent choice. And he is going to be in the big time coming up very, very, very soon. And you're going to see some others as well. Did you see today where Ethel Kennedy died? Bless her heart, 96 years old. She was cheated on by Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy, the father, was a psychopath who most probably did more to get his brother killed than anybody. She sat back. I think everybody from Kim Novak to Lee Remick. You know who else? Tagged Bobby? Jackie Kennedy. Oh, Jackie was a strumpet. Oh, Lord have mercy. Like a 3-peckered goat. Oh, man. This is why I'm sorry. I want those Kennedys. I'm done with them. Bobby, you do your job over there. You do not have the emotional and the intellect, not the intellectual. He has the intellectual. The emotional and the maturity, because you are a walking blackmail, okay? Crypto says you got to be full of crap to be bullcrapping. That's correct. Ramona says, if I follow this, I'll get so lost I'll never see again. Indeed. Jerry Robichaud says, fake candidates, fake primary, fake debate, fake policies, fake plans, fake values, fake interviews, fake record, fake marriage, fake polls, fake rallies, fake story, fake Glock, fake ballots, fake elections. Here, bloody here, sir. Crypto says, what does Puppy, Springfield, and ballots have in common? What do puppies, Springfield, and ballots have in common? I think other than the obvious, I'm not sure. By the way, did you see this story? Did you see this? Oh, I'm glad you brought this one up. They hate when we talk about them puppy dogs. They hate it. You know that? They hate it. They hate it. They hate it. And that's why it's important to remind them. Did you hear the latest?
78 miles north of Indianapolis, known for its diverse...
Let's do it again. Hang on, man. Just a second here. Hang on. Hang on. What's going on here? Hang on now. Whoa, buddy. Oh, I know what I did. I'm sorry. Excuse me. No, excuse me. Let me try this again. We're going to try this again. Hang on. Bless your heart. Here we go.
My final count.
Let's try this again.
18 newcomers
that week.
There we go. I'm sorry. Let's try this.
Logansport, Indiana, a rural city.
Logansport, Indiana. Can you say that, ladies and gentlemen? Logansport, Indiana. Okay.
78 miles north of Indianapolis, known for its diverse urban population of 18,000.
18,000. Do you see where we're going with this? Do you see?
People from at least 28 countries now call Logansport home.
28 countries. 28 countries call Logansport home. 28 countries. Is that good? A little town like that? 18. Did you hear this again? Are you following this? Does this make sense to you? Let's listen to this again.
Logansport, Indiana, a rural city 78 miles north of Indianapolis, known for its diverse urban population of 18,000.
18,000.
People from at least 28 countries.
28 countries in 18,000. That sounds a little... Logansport, where would 28 countries... I mean, I guess that's possible.
Now call Logansport home, with at least 27 languages spoken.
Each 27 languages spoken.
Each week. Okay, you did not say that. Yeah, each week. So last
Each week.
27 languages spoken.
Each week. Each week. Okay, you did not say that. Yeah, each week. So last week they had, my final count that I knew of, they had 16 newcomers. That week. Then a lot of them are coming unaccompanied.
A startling report from the Cass County Health Department administrator during a September county commissioner meeting. Serenity Alter sits in meetings with new children enrolled in Logansport schools. She listens to them describe their journey to the city.
Most of them fly from Haiti to Nicaragua to Mexico and then to whatever state they're flying to. A lot of them, like we met a couple last week that hadn't seen their parents in about 7 years. It's a eye-opener.
The overall growth of school enrollment jumped by nearly 150 kids in 3 years. This year, there are 207 Haitian students in Logansport schools, up from 14 in 2021.
Now, why don't people talk about that?
And they also have new students from 11 other countries.
Look at this. In Logansport, look, 93 Haiti. 93. Okay, let me just stop right there. I'm not gonna belabor the point with this. I talked today to a friend of ours. She's a 4th grade teacher, and she says, "You don't understand something. When you're in public schools and you've got somebody from a Latin American country, and they go on vacation with their family, they don't go for a week. They're there because it's so expensive. They're there for weeks." So it is common in their parlance and their culture to travel for weeks at a time. You know what this does for schools? Schools. It is the most incredible thing anybody's ever seen. Schools. Why is that happening? It blows my mind. It blows my mind. Robert Bone says, remember the ballot box stuffers? It's not over till the fat cankles sings. That's right. Where did they go? Crypto Domini says, I've drilled a well in Logansport. I'll bet you have, sir. I'll bet you have. Crypto says, the only thing not fake is the money. Interesting about that. It's incredible. Now, let's also go back. Let's look at this. There is a woman by the name, she is an MEP. Let me see. She is please forgive me. She is I'm trying to get this for you. Let me see. She's a German MEP, member of European Parliament. And yes, Christine Anderson. Christine Anderson. She's an elected member to the EU Parliament. She represents the German people because she was elected by the German people in this new world order thing called the European Parliament. Okay? Okay. Now listen to her and listen how she so eloquently speaks to this transformational attitude as to how people initially, dare I say, wanted to, what's the word? How people wanted to let me see. To understand that sometimes there were some women who might be a little masculine in appearance, some might be that, and that there's a broad range of peoples, and okay, you got that? And listen to how that initial kind of rational approach just went off the rails.
We're talking about, this whole transgender madness.
Let's try it again.
So we're talking about, this whole transgender madness. The goal was to get society to understand that you don't have a typical female,
that makes sense.
Don't have a typical male, but there is a spectrum.
All right.
That was pretty much what, the thing was up until a few years ago. But now they're overturning this, and they're telling if you are not fitting in the standard kind of stereotype of a female, that must mean you are a man. So let's just do surgery on you
See
and
that?
destroy your body pretty much. General bodily mutilation. That's what they're calling for now. So rather than having, there is a spectrum.
She speaks better English than most people in this country. She's German.
No, they now want to.
She speaks better than Tiffany Henyard. She speaks better than Eric Adams.
Get these stereotypes back, and anyone not fitting into that stereotype, like I said, is once again subject to the pharmaceutical companies and the medical complex, and they make billions and billions and billions off of this. Because every person that undergoes surgical transition, if there is even such a thing, that is a lifelong patient that brings in money. And who is paying all of that? Taxpayer. I mean, it's not these individuals having to put up the money themselves, the taxpayer.
Okay, I want you to listen to me. Okay? Listen to Uncle Lenny. This issue is not going away. This issue of trans and all that, it's not going away. You might have thought it is. You might have thought, well, we're pretty over that. Oh, no, we're not. No, we're not. Well, if Trump is president again, that's going to fix anything. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because they're not. Trump is going to have to kind of rewire to clean this virus that contaminated our way of thinking. How do I say this? This our way of thinking. Our way of thinking is so incredible. Let me back up a little bit. Let me see if I can do this. And this is going to be tough for a lot of you folks. So listen to Uncle Lenny, okay? Listen to me. You're going to have to sit down and say, now, Grandma, Grandpa, Auntie M, Mom, Dad, whoever your parents are, your kids or whatever, I want you to understand something. Beginning immediately, we get rid of this thing called parties. We get rid of this. We are not conservatives. We're thinkers. If something makes sense to us, that's fine. If it doesn't make sense, we reject it. Not because it's liberal, not because it's it, but because it is. Okay. Are you familiar with a situation? And I wanted to see if you can get this. Are you familiar with this? Now, work with me on this, because this I've been waiting to tell you about all day. It is yeah. Did you see CBS Morning's Tony Dokupil regrets to teary staff at crisis meeting after bosses condemned him for his controversial interview on Israel? He was talking to Ta-Nehisi Coates. Did you see this? First, give me an idea of whether you know what I'm talking about. Do you know this? Do you know what I'm talking about? This Ta-Nehisi Coates, he is the father, if you will, of American reparation theory. Ramona says the money is fake too. $1 is worth 3 cents. That is true. That's why silver, gold, I'm telling you, all the stuff that we used to laugh at is true. Are you familiar with this one? Everybody, no. Okay. I want you to, this is really good to understand. CBS host Tony Dokupil, Dokoupil. I don't watch this, so I pronounce his name. told his assembled colleagues he was sorry about the row over his fiery interview with a pro-Palestinian writer. And he's not pro-Palestinian. And he claimed it may have left some of them in danger. Bosses at the network slammed the CBS morning presenter for bringing his bias to the screen after he told best-selling author Ta-Nehisi Coates his essays about Palestinians would not be out of place in the backpack of an extremist. Chief legal correspondent Jan Crawford was among stars who defended Dokupil on Monday, insisting reporters were obligated to challenge. But sources admitted the network remained deeply divided over the issue. After another teary staff meeting on Tuesday, would you stop this? Now, let me see if I can explain this to you. And this is going to be one of the toughest things that some of you folks may have to deal with. But if you want to figure this thing out, you're going to have to. And finally, there's the camera, and it works right now. Okay. I want you to imagine something. Ta-Nehisi is full of shit. Pardon my French, when it comes to reparations. He wrote this treatise and he's for reparations. Complete. He is one of these folks. And I'm not saying he's but so scarred, defined, categorized, affected by his blackness, negritude, living in this country, Jim Crow, segregation. It's the beginning and the end of who he is. Now, listen to me carefully. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's wrong. There are people who the beginning and the end of it. You ever see people who walk around with a sign that says, veteran? I'm a veteran. I'm a veteran. I wasn't a veteran. I was in combat. Okay. Veteran. Okay. You were, but you're 85 years old. You were a kid then. I'm not going to tell somebody who may or may not be. But to this Ta-Nehisi, whatever, he said his father's parents living in this country and the okay, fine. By the way, this guy, he is a professor at Howard University, African American. And I heard some doozy mistakes that a professor should not make. And I'm sorry. This is the English language. And if you say stupid mispronunciations like nuclear and axe, I don't care who you are, I'm going to call you on it. Okay. So here is this thing. He says, here I am. And he's full of shite regarding reparations. Reparations just make no sense. I'm going to pay you because your parents may or may not have been involved in slavery or the results of, I don't even understand. Okay. So fine. So he's full of it. But he writes this book and he goes to, I don't know, somewhere in Africa, but he goes to Hebron or the West Bank, and he's talking about the unbelievable brutality of being there. He says he stopped by an IDF guard, by a soldier. He said he could have been his son, and he says, "What's your religion?" And this is this black dude from America who said, "What's my religion?" To pass into this area. Yeah. Jewish settlers and Jews aren't asked that. Or, excuse me, Israeli. Well, let's just say Jewish. This person, he's asked, what is your religion? He said, what's my religion? I don't really have a religion. What's your mother's religion? Well, she wasn't religious. What's your grandmother's religion? He said, excuse me, what the hell does this have to do to pass? He talks about two levels, two structures, two levels of legal representation and rights. Okay, fine. The bottom line is this. He says it. Now, I want you to listen to me carefully. F. Scott Fitzgerald said, the sign of a great mind is somebody who can handle two seemingly inconsistent ideas in your mind simultaneously and not lose your mind. Listen to me and listen carefully. Okay? Let me say this to you. Number one, you can like people and hate sometimes what they say, or you can hate people, as you say, and like sometimes. There is a person who is on the on a podcast who I despise with every. I swear to you, if he was on fire, I would not micturate on him. I would not involve myself in any kind of assistance in terms of undonism to put out, to quench, to stanch the fire. I can't stand him, but he's absolutely correct regarding some issues regarding what's going on in Israel. So this guy from CBS thought, I'm going to show you and the lobby and everybody. You think you're pro-Israel? You ain't seen nothing yet. Watch what I do. Sit back, watch the king, watch me. And he said, your ideas are so basically crazy. This is the stuff I would expect to find in the backpack. And he made it sound like a terrorist. Now, I'm 100% with this Tanesi, whatever his name is, regarding what he wrote. He's absolutely correct, but he's completely full of shit when it comes to reparations. Do you see how that works? There are people out there. I hear this stupidity. I saw today on X or whatever it is. There was a bombing. They were going through this house. And there's something about seeing children killed, whoever they are. I don't care if they're Congolese, Iranian, Palestinian, Israeli. Doesn't matter to me. It's terrible. But there was this bomb, and somebody picked up a hand. It looked like there was a glove, like a glove, not an arm. It was from the shoulder. It was like a glove. It was just shattered. And these people on Fox News, they were saying, listen, make sure you're going to, whatever Israel does, we're 100% behind it. It's an existential threat. Remember October the 7th. The hell with the Palestinians. Just forget it. You got it? You will never get in trouble by saying, we got to get to the bottom of this. Okay. And I don't bring this topic up right now because let me tell you something. If you think Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis are the Girl Scouts or the Junior League, you're out of your mind. It's called the balance. But I don't want to bring that up because it's just something. That, Ukraine, AI, and whatever. Okay, fine. They're going crazy over this. And what this CBS dude is doing is he's basically signaling either to Israeli lobby or whatever, I'm in, folks. I am in. Watch me. And he was so in, he looks like a fool. You're not going to spend any time on this subject. This subject is of no interest whatsoever to you. I don't blame you. It is so esoteric in some respects. It is something that is going to happen here, my friends. Make sure you tell all of your children, all of your youngsters, all of your grandchildren, you are never going to go into the military. Listen to Grandpa Lenny here. You are not going to go ever into the military. This is a new world. That was then. Well, you know, some of the great... I don't want to hear that. Well, you know, my grandfather served in the Marines, and I don't want to hear that. That's over with. I want you to again to say, okay, do yourself a favor. I want you to go, seriously, I want you to sit there and say, okay, let's imagine right now, for some reason, you cannot leave your home and you are stuck in there for 7 days. 7 days. Let's assume you've got power. Let's just say there's no food, no stores. This is my favorite. 7 days. 7. How many in your family? Let's say you got what, 3, 4? You got kids? 7 days. Remember, look. Day 1, we're doing okay. You want to apportion it? This is just 7. You want to apportion this? Okay. That. Do you know what you're going to do in the event that you need that all power is down? Most people do not have oodles of cash squirreled away? Do you have that? Do you have oodles of cash squirreled away? Who's got cash in them? Most people say, I don't have enough money. I go paycheck to pay. I don't have enough money for cash. What are you talking about? Think about this. What would you do? ATMs are down. Internet's down. What are you going to do? Everything has changed. Everything. Throw away this idea about political parties. Throw them away. Lindsey Graham is supposedly on your side. Does he represent you? Does he? It's all done. It's different. Everything's upside down. Everything. I look at this world like they declared war on us. I see what's happening. Remember those stories? I heard them a lot when I was a kid about people in Cuba, and they said we knew something was up with Castro, and we all left. We left because we knew something was happening with Castro. Castro was going to do this. Blah blah blah. Okay. World War II, Germany. People said we saw what they were doing. Jewish people left. They said we got to get the hell out of here. We see what's happening. Okay, where do we go? Anybody? Where do we go? Seriously, where do we go? I don't feel safe. This isn't. I don't care if Trump wins 3 more terms. The rest of the country, these people aren't going away. They're showing you their hands. Where do we go? What do we do? How do we fix this thing? Who do we go to? The same thing. Bobby Kennedy. Somebody said, actually, I want Bobby Kennedy to be in charge of the CIA. Are you kidding me? What is this? What is this, a joke? Is this like, is he your boyfriend or something? Who represents us? I don't know. We have a system, by the way. You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this when I tell you this. Our New York City mayor is so bad. They're going to gut the entire superstructure. Everybody has quit or faces indictment, has had their phones seized. He is a moron. Listen to him. My friends, we need smart people. The dumbest person, by the way, Kamala is really stupid because she sounds good. But the person who speaks like she's from another planet, not just bad English, but from another planet with another system of interpersonal communications, is Tiffany Henyard. She's still walking around. She hasn't even been indicted yet. Eric Adams is. This woman in Dalton, Illinois. They're putting in cretins. They love this. Jumaane Williams, who is in New York, who is the public advocate. He is next in line, believe it or not, if Eric Adams is, whatever. This guy isn't a socialist. He is a radical. He is one of these guys that you thought, really? He is a radical. An absolute radical. Do you understand this? It's incredible. Hang on a minute. This Mrs. L. Let me see if I can explain this to you. We're seeing things that don't make any sense. We're seeing things right now. Believe me when I'm telling you something. You're not going to recognize this country. We always had some lefties here and there, but this is a different story. Crypto says our sister channel Scam Baiters had a short I saw today. They busted a foreigner on camera. The cops said they are a sanctuary city and you can't arrest them. This is a world I do not I do not recognize. This is a world I do not recognize. Where do I go? Where do I go? By the way, Edie, we got your beautiful artwork today. We love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your absolute glory. The beauteousness of your heart and spirit. Thank you. Let me see if I can explain this again. Stop right there. They're affecting weather. They're affecting us. They're affecting our genetics. They're affecting our DNA. They're affecting our brains. They are pummeling us with everything from Wi-Fi to radiation to microplastics to nanotechnology. They are destroying us. Little girls are having and experiencing menarche and periods and breast development earlier and earlier because of just the hormones in foods and the like. It is everywhere we go. We live in a world where when you sound the alarm and say, hey, wait a minute, this is wrong. They didn't yell at Rachel Carson, Silent Spring. I've been talking about people who have been spraying through nanoparticulate spraying, strontium and barium and others, Dane Wigington and others. We're laughed at. We're laughed at. Let me ask you something. Just tell me you understand this. All I want you to do is tell me you understand this. Tell me you're not going to say, hey, that was a fun show. That was a fun show. Yeah, okay. Tell me you really understand what I'm saying here. We are in deep, seriously. The rules have changed. Everything is completely different. For 4 years, actually a little bit before that, we were abused by people coming at us from every part, parts of the world we never even thought possible. What's it going to look like 5 years? Do you have children? Do you have grandchildren? Do you have whatever it is? Do you? What about them? What are they going to look for? What do you tell your kids? And I said this the other day, and this really pissed some people off. I said, I don't know how much say you have. Anybody who lets their kids go into the military in this country, unless it's something like the Navy and you're doing something, you're a cook or something. Well, maybe that, right? But whatever. Or in the Air Force but the Marines, Delta Force, this Sean Ryan. I love this stuff. It's like, are you kidding? You're glorifying war. I want to make sure people understand what war is. I want them to see this. And you can see what's happening right now. We're in a country where people who believe in faith are under such attack right now because what happened was during the Rona, people could not even worship their faith by virtue of this thing, this condition. Funerals, birthdays. That was a beta test. That was to see how far you'd go. How far can they push you? What are you going to do? How are you going to fight back? That's what they saw. They also found out that there's people around you. I asked somebody tonight, give me one of these with these elbow stuff. I said, really? You're still doing that? I said, I don't want to shake your hand if you don't want to, but seriously, you think that this is going to do something? Shaking hands? Do you think that if there's a transmission of some horrible, deadly virus, it was because of handshaking? See, there are people who are out there. We have an education system that is so bad, so whatever, we're not going to be able to compete with Europe and with Asia. We have morons. We have kids today who are walking around who can't make eye contact, can't sign their name, don't have girlfriends, don't want to drive a car, don't want a job. They're taking all kinds of psychotropic medications. Their anxieties. They have therapy dogs. They cry. They're upset. They're weird. They're introspective. I don't know what the hell. I don't know if it's because of food, radiation, vaccines. I have no idea. Medication, drugs. Then we want to give more people drugs. We have more pot dispensaries. We have people who don't know anything about anything. We have people who actually will get into arguments with me and they know nothing about what I'm talking about. So let me ask you something. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? Where? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Tell me. What do you plan? Do you have a boogie bag or a bug out bag or what are those things called? What's your plan for after Trump? What's going to happen when the Democrats lose the filibuster? When they make DC and Puerto Rico maybe, but DC for sure, the 51st state, they have a permanent Democratic majority. What are you going to do about that? Anybody talking about that? No. Now, I know they might be jumping a little bit ahead because we do have an election coming up. But what I'm telling you right now is that everything changed. Your government is not going to help you. And let me also tell you something. I want you to think about this. I want you to really sit down and ask yourself, talk to your spouse, to your loved ones, whatever it is, and ask yourself, should we avail ourselves of self-protection methods? I'm not talking about, rear naked chokes and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'm talking about firearms. Do you have you ever had a thought about that? Have you ever discussed this with somebody? Have you ever looked at the notion of what's going to happen at some point? People in the country do. It's very interesting. I like people in the country. I like people in more rural areas because what they do and what they're very good about is that they will provide and they will themselves realize that, guns and things like that are a good idea because they live in the woods and maybe they hunt or whatever it is. But you're going to have to ask yourself, the police are going to go away. When they told you defund the police, what did you think that was? Did you think that was a joke? Did you think that was, what did you think about that? When they were talking about defund the police, what did you think about? Did you think, well, I'm glad they dropped that. You think that's going away? What did you learn during George Floyd? Let me ask you something. What did you learn? Anything? What was your takeaway from George Floyd? What was it? And by the way, I like this old, not old, I shouldn't say that. Gina says, J.D. Vance, 2028, 2032. Yeah. You know who also would throw in Gina, who's very good too? Tulsi Gabbard. She's really good. But do you think J.D. Vance is going to do this? Do you think? How powerful do you think is a president? How powerful? Do you think that well, let me ask you this. Does President Trump run the country? No. Are there other people involved? Yes. What's he going to do with globalism? I have no idea. What's he going to do with the shadow government? What's he going to do with what is he going to do with groups of people? How is he going to deal with BRICS? We talked about BRICS today, which is terrific. BRICS plus 6 or whatever it is. What is he going to do with these people? Tell me, what is he going to do? Tell me. Do you really think? No. And by the way, our good friend Donna says, he's America first. Donna, I think he is. Do you think that matters? Do you think listen, it's great to have a president on our side, and he certainly is. Do you think the president runs the show? When all these things happen, movements to fund the police, reparations, abortion, trans, all this nuttiness. Do you think, what is he going to do if there's another pandemic? What is he going to do when monkeypox takes off? What is he going to do when health professionals are suggesting, again, mandatory vaccination, this time for Gardasil, for HPV? What's he going to do? And you are going to have half of the country say, I'm for it, and half of it is against it. What is he going to do? You're going to call Bobby Kennedy? What if Bobby Kennedy says, yep, it's safe? Because vaccines work. I don't care what anybody says, vaccines work. In theory, I don't know if this particular vaccine works. What are you going to do about that? What I'm saying is, Trump is great. God bless him. I'm voting him. You know that. You know I've made it abundantly clear. Abundantly clear. I've told you specifically that I was going to make sure that he absolutely, positively is reelected. I want it. There's no doubt about that. But he's not the only one. The world is so frightening. Let me ask you this, dear friends, again. What do you think is going to happen regarding NATO? What do you think is going to happen regarding that? Where does NATO fit into this? I'm going to throw some stuff at you. Will he ever figure out, will he ever deal with anything regarding geoengineering, spraying? You don't call them chemtrails, but he's never brought that up because that sounds like a conspiracy theory. Somebody's going to say, oh, that's that Marjorie Taylor Greene again. Do you think weather is manipulated? You're damn right it is. We all know this. They think it's a crazy idea. What's he going to do about that? Do you think Trump has maybe he does. I think he can learn. Look, I want you to grasp this. I want you to understand what I'm saying. I love this country more than anything else. I am not the same person. I am not the same person I was before. I wasn't the same person after 9/11. I'm not the same person after Vietnam. And I'm definitely not the same person after 4 years of this horror show. I am not the same person. And I want you to understand something. I want you to understand something very, very, very carefully. And listen to me with all your heart. When we win this, and President Trump is going to win, and that's the good news. When we win this, we're going to have to sit back again, you and me, we're going to have to sit there and say, okay, let's really look at this. Let's look at what's going on here. But we're going to have to ask ourselves, where do we stand? Where do we fit in? How do we work this thing? How do we figure this out? Seriously, what do we do? Because let me tell you something. This nonsense is over with. This Democrat Republican is over with. The Fox News is done. I'm through with them. That's great. Thank you very much. They're amusing at best. They are amusing. This is the fight of our lives, my friend. And when I saw what they did in Florida, when I saw that, and they did nothing, and I played this one particular play of Kamala being so bad that she doesn't even care enough to try to win. She doesn't even try to win. She doesn't care about winning. No. This is how bad it is. This is how bad it is. This is something that is beyond anything I've seen. Think about this. Let me see if I can put this into perspective. She is so bad at what she does that she never bothered to learn anything about what it is she's trying to do. She picks the worst person in the history of American politics. The worst. The absolute worst to accompany her, to be a part of this thing. Who has no idea what he's talking about, no idea what he's discussing, no idea about anything. And she doesn't care. They send out Obama. He doesn't care. And I'm wondering, and you're wondering, well, don't they want to win this? Are they planning something? Are they throwing it because they figure, look, she doesn't have to say anything. We're going to win this. We got it all taken care of. We got people so scared. They are so scared at Fox News. They won't even talk about absentee ballots because of the Dominion and Smartmatic lawsuits. And again, I'm not talking about machines or algorithms. I'm talking about actual paper ballots. Americans have to learn on their own that whatever their history before is done. People may not necessarily be the type that are real natural learners. They're not investigative reporter types. They're not autodidacts. They're kind of incurious. They don't really, how do I say this? They don't really, what am I trying to say? They don't really yearn for knowledge. They're not possessed by knowing the history of this or that. They don't. Sad to say. Most people figure, look, last time I learned was in college, maybe, or in high school. I'm not going to go into the history of, warfare, the Parthian shot and the, no, I'm not going to get into the, warfare and strange kind of Persian. I mean, people will listen to Victor Davis Hanson and kind of nod their head and say, I don't know what the hell the guy's talking about, but he sounds good. That's as close to it as we get. Our history, our Constitution is in dire. They're not standing. They went after, listen to what I'm saying. They went after our Supreme Court justices. They went to their homes. They threatened them. Remember the fellow who came there looking for Kavanaugh? They went after with that greasy, whatever her name is, with the bad glasses, her. They went after, Clarence Thomas is under such attack, it's not even funny. You name the area. They are relentless. They're not stopping. And I'm telling you, I feel very good about Trump. Very, very good. But I'm going to tell you right now, we need a group of people who really know what they're doing. We need intel. We need people to go in and say, we're going to subvert. We're going to play dirty, legally, but dirty. We're going to go in and we're going to plant not misinformation, but damaging information. That's true. To split the Democratic Party. You've got two factions involved. You got the old school and you got the new school, obviously. You got a bunch of people from the days of Bernie Sanders who believe in, I don't know what the hell he believes in. And they were a pretty interesting force until Hillary came along. Put your money behind AOC. Put your money behind AOC and understand she is the secret to this. Because AOC and the squad and use Israel as the leverage. I don't care what the subject is, if it's Israel or abortion or anything for that matter. I want there to be a split. I want to weaken the Democratic Party. I want to weaken it. I want to go in and I want to pit each other against. And so far, they've been pretty unanimous, pretty good about this. But Israel's bigger than anything you can imagine. And the American media have conspired to make you think that everything's great, that everything's groovy, that nobody's worried about it. Well, let me tell you something. They better be. They better be. And one more thing. I'll be damned if I'm going to pay any more money to any more foreign countries to help their people. I'm an American. If we have any money left over, we have satisfied everything, infrastructure, schools, name it, education, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. If our infrastructure and our roads and waterways and bridges, everything is terrific. If we have the best school systems, the best police department, the best health, the best everything. If we have that and we have money left over, I'll think about Israel. I'll think about Ukraine or whatever. Maybe. But we're never going to get to that position. When I heard they were giving $750 per person, when we gave how many billions of dollars to Israel? For what? We should ask Zelensky, send the money to Florida. Okay, you've heard my thing. I don't want to go through this. I don't want to lecture at you. But just understand something, my friends. This is great talking. I love being with you. But this is war. Okay? This is war. And we're in a hierarchy. No, strike that. We are in an anarchy. This is anarchic, meaning there's no one above us. There's no one to call. There's no police. Like Mearsheimer says, there's no hierarchy. There's no 911 to say, hey, the U.S. needs help. It doesn't work that way. We're on our own. We have been abandoned by the very people that we put into office. So just think about this. Let's win this first. I don't want you to get too upset about this. We're going to win this first. Then we're going to we're going to get down to business. So Crypto Domini, thank you. Ramona, so good to see you again, dear heart. Robert Rose, thank you. Jerry Robichaud, thank you so much for your kindness. Gloria Hanley, thank you as well. Linda Hazlitt, Nelson A. Punctured Bicycle of a Desolate, thank you so much. And CR, thank you for your kindness in your perspicacity and the like. Don't forget to follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Don't forget, we'll be back at 8 a.m. Thank you for allowing me to come to you later in the eve. It was a very interesting thing. Maybe one day I'll tell you what we learned, what we saw. It's very interesting. We went to a Broadway event. I haven't done that in forever. And it brought back good ideas. Howie Brown, thank you. Howie just gifted 5 Lionel Nation memberships. All right, dear friends, thank you so much. Have a great and a glorious day. I mean that sincerely. Don't forget, preparewithlionel.com. My friends, I'm telling you, because I think people kind of resist it because to agree with me is to admit how bad things are. They're bad. But we can be strong, prepared, and say, bring it on. And don't forget food, water, ammo, and energy. All right, your friends, have a great and glorious day. See you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Until then, my friends, I always end with this. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Tete.